Good afternoon, my YouTube friends and family. So today I want to make a video addressing the cult of Dusty. Dusty has a new video upload. It is called Stand Up to Christian Terrorists. And in that video, it's basically footage from the unveiling of the atheist monument, him addressing some preachers who stood up to declare the gospel to this group of atheists. And basically, he accused them of being terrorists. Here's the clip.
And in my opinion, when this happens, when somebody stands up and starts threatening women and children in public, the correct response is anger. We should not allow them to get away with this. So I immediately walked up to this asshole and told him exactly what I thought of him. And this is what I said.
Hey, dude, you should be ashamed of yourself out here. You're spreading fear and terror. You're trying to terrorize people. You're telling me to stop? No, I'm not telling you to stop. I'm telling you you're a terrorist. You are a terrorist out here trying to spread your cult.
Why is that
shut up! And you are a cult member out here trying to terrorize people and spread your hate and fear by terrorizing them with torture.
He was out there trying to cause trouble. He jumped up on the atheist monument and tried to preach his speech like a fucking terrorist he is. Hey, just like Muslims try to bounce their chest for Allah. They're doing it for Allah. They're not different. They're not selfish assholes. They're doing it for God. Just like, and you're out here threatening people. You're terrorizing people like a damn terrorist. If we do not stand up to people like Eric Hovind, the terrorists win. They're fucking stand up to these Christian terrorists. Fight back. Tell them exactly what you think about them. There's absolutely no reason for us to be nice to these terroristic assholes. The brand of terrorist will stick to these motherfuckers because that's exactly what they are.
Okay, now you can see what I was talking about. In this clip, he was accusing the Christians of being terrorists. Now I want to give you a definition of what terrorism is. And I'm not doing this to, patronize anybody or to talk down to anybody, but I think terms are important. Words matter. And terrorism, the dictionary.com definition of terrorism is the use of violence and threats to intimidate or coerce, especially for political purposes. Number 2, the state of fear and submission produced by terrorism or terrorization. Number 3, a terroristic method of governing or of resisting a government. Here's the problem that I have with the video fundamentally, and I get that we disagree. I get that you and I are coming from opposite sides of the spectrum here. But what you were describing as terrorism is not terrorism. And because there was no threats, a warning is far different from a threat. Warning somebody that if they die in their sin, that they're going to hell, is not terrorism. It's love. If we believed that, because I'm an open-air preacher also, if I believed that atheists were going to hell, and I didn't share with them that Jesus Christ died for your sin as an atheist so that you don't have to go to hell, that's not love, bro. That's hate. It would be hateful for me to stay home. Also, what I think here is that you're using the word terrorism as a means to bully and intimidate the preacher into silence. You are using that word hoping that it's going to click in the preacher's mind that I don't want to be thought of as a terrorist, that he would step down and go away. So you are using coercion and intimidation, bullying, to try to silence somebody else's free speech. Now, it's interesting because, as you know, maybe you remember this, maybe you don't, but you have the video on your channel that it's called Google Declares Atheism Hate Speech. I think it's the intro on your channel, and you and I interacted once a few weeks ago, and I want to put up a screenshot of that interaction here. Now, Dusty, as you can see, we both agreed that we would fight for one another's rights to practice our beliefs freely, as we have the right to do under our current system of government. And part of our freedoms include the freedom of speech. Part of our freedoms include the freedom of religious expression. And the Supreme Court ruled that, my freedom of speech is not dictated by the audience's willingness to hear it or them liking it. It's called the heckler's veto. So, and I think you probably know that. I have a feeling you do, and that's what happens when, you know, okay, so we have to use another means to try and silence these preachers. Let me see if a little bit of bullying is going to work. So that's what you're doing. And I'm not going to take the leap, although I think the case could be made. I'm not going to take the leap and say that that makes you a terrorist, because I think that that gives a huge amount of disrespect to those who actually live under the threat of actual terrorism every day. So you photoshopping a suicide bomber's vest onto a street preacher's um, picture, I think it's just the height of dishonesty. I think it's massively disrespectful to those who are fighting against terrorism, our boys, our troops that are overseas fighting against terrorism, our FBI and CIA agents who are trying to protect us from these people who have crept in under the radar because of political correctness, and those people, the innocent people who are actually victims to terrorism. I think that you do them a huge disrespect, a huge disservice when you just start arbitrarily throwing around words like terrorism. Now, here's another thing. I want to play this clip on how you end your video. Here we go.
So when you see douchebags like this in public, don't back down. Get up in their face and fight them back as fiercely as you possibly can. Crawl up directly inside their ass and stomp the shit out of the place with the steel-toe boots of logic. Logic.
So you end your video by saying that, you know, we have to use logic. I think it's interesting, however, that in this case, in addressing the street preacher, you weren't using logic, you were actually using a logical fallacy called false equivalence. And I'm going to read the definition of that to you as well again, just so we both have, you know, I'm not making this stuff up. It's not a means to, you know, try to talk down to anybody. But false equivalence is a logical fallacy which describes a situation where there is a logical and apparent equivalence, but when in fact there is none. It would be the antonym of the mathematical concept of material equivalence. It is achieved by shifting, imprecise, or tactical redefinition of a linking term. That's exactly what you did in calling these preachers, in labeling them terrorists. If you're going to make a call to use logic, I would think that you would find it important that you yourself, as the person making the call to use logic, would want to know that you're applying it incorrectly so that you can make that correction in yourself so you don't make that mistake again. So this isn't like me trying to be a jerk or anything, but I did think that the video was way off base. I've watched some of your videos. I'm a fan of your page. I don't know if I'm subscribed or not. I'm subscribed to so many channels. However, just based on our interaction, because I remember that. I mean, you have a way bigger channel than I do, so when you responded to me, I was like, oh wow, Cult of Dusty actually responded to me. That was cool. So, but then I see this video that just says the exact opposite of what you said in your comment, which said you would fight for my right to be a Christian. And part of being a Christian is preaching the gospel. It's what we are commanded to do by Scripture. And some of us take that command very seriously. So I would just appreciate it if you would just stop calling us terrorists. That's cool. Disagree with me all day. Say you don't like the method. Say you think it's, you know, BS or whatever. Fine. But to label it something that it is not, from a guy who is selling merchandise talking about logic and then misapplying it, seems to me to be highly inconsistent. And inconsistency is the surest sign of a failed argument. So, Dusty, I appreciate you taking the time to watch this. I would appreciate a video response from you if you feel like doing it. Otherwise, some other comments in the comment feed, whatever, that's cool too. But I would like to interact with you on this. All right, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you feel so led. Take care. Bye-bye.